Hey.
Scooch in. Scooch
You scooch in.
Get a little comfortable.
Get in here.
Get it.
Oh,
go on. Get it.
You already
done.
hit it?
Oh, you did.
Hold on. Let me start that over again.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Wow. Hey, guys.
'cause
Hello
Happy
and welcome
Easter.
to Back in the Closet with the two crazy cat ladies. Happy Easter, guys.
It's Easter
Sunday. It's Easter Sunday. It's rather
we should start this.
yeah, we will.
Okay.
Because we're not going to be talking about Easter. I think you need to change that camera a little bit.
A little bit.
Your face is not in it. Or you can scoot closer to me.
Wait, I'm running into the table, so I'm starting to have trouble.
You see how my seat works?
You see, though, that that's not how this is happening. I just don't see that happening.
Hey, guys. Welcome. We have a great podcast set up today. I think. Heather. As per usual. Hey, Heather, we love you so much. Happy Easter.
Oh, bless you.
As per usual, we're probably just going to, shoot shit and.
No, we're going to focus a little bit today.
But we're going to try to
focus a little bit.
We have some stuff that we want to talk about when it comes to our cats and COVID-19. Guys, so.
Oh, Debbie, I love you.
This back just a hair.
Hey, Lindsay.
My little slippers in the way. That's happening.
Place it's your slippers, not mine. Okay.
Here we go. All right, so let's start a podcast, guys. Let's do it.
Do it. Here we go. In 5, 4,
3, 2. Okay, that didn't work. Oh. Why? Sorry, guys.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by. We're having technical difficulties.
There we go.
Gotta hear the beep.
Welcome to episode number 0019 of Back in the Closet with the two crazy cat ladies. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We heard thunder today. And thunder is not something you hear a lot in Las Vegas. But
it's very exciting when we hear thunder.
Yeah. And it was Easter, so it was like a symbol.
Jay said maybe that wasn't thunder. Maybe that was the stone being rolled away.
Right.
So she said.
Because you never know.
Maybe
is every
possible.
Easter Sunday there is a stone that is rolled.
Perhaps. You guys saw that meme. We were just telling folks in our VIP group there were some really funny memes out there today about the resurrection, where it showed Jesus trying to come out of the tomb and God standing there with his hand up being like, not this year, son.
You have to stay inside.
You have to stay in.
Yeah, you have to stay in.
Yeah, it's strange,
and then there was
right?
another one with Christ like coming out of the tomb, and it said, YOLO, just kidding. JK. There's some you
good
only
stuff.
live once. Just kidding. Not if you're the Lord. Okay, guys. So, for those of you guys listening, today is Easter. We are recording on Easter. This will drop tomorrow, Monday morning on April 13th.
Yeah.
But for whenever you're listening, I hope you are having a beautiful day and that life is grand and you're remembering to count your blessings. Yes. Whether you're in the midst of this crisis when you're listening to this podcast, or the crisis was but of a story of yesterday, of yesteryear.
Your memory.
It's always a good reason. It's always a good idea to count your blessings in whatever way possible.
I agree. I think it's a good practice. We were talking earlier today about how it's just been kind of a blah day.
Yeah.
It's just been kind of like, it's supposed to be Easter. We're supposed to be celebrating and cooking good food and spending time with family. And it's so strange to not be doing any of that. And then we were reminded that we have so many blessings. And our VIP group got us hopped up on goofballs just because they're a huge blessing to us. And there were so many great reminders of just how blessed we are. And it's really it is a good practice, especially when we're not feeling it, to take a minute and really experience gratitude. Yeah,
we were talking on our VIP live about like singing and dancing.
Yes,
and because they were begging us to play. By us, we mean Adrienne, because Adrienne
begging is a strong word. I think
Kelly was definitely begging.
She said beg.
Said beg. She said the word beg.
Yeah.
But Adrienne is a musician. She's a classically trained violinist her whole life, and she also plays the piano. And they were really trying to get us to play some music, which we ended up doing.
We did
a little bit,
and it wasn't a catastrophe. Heather, you're so kind. It wasn't,
which is interesting. Probably because we were, I or both of us haven't been drinking that much.
Well,
usually the only time that we're like,
Well, you should play some music.
Play some music is when we're like trash and then we don't know what we're doing, whatever. But I was saying that, you know, singing, people were talking about like singing and they can't sing and I can't sing either. And they were talking about dancing and I can't dance, but I love to sing and I love to dance. I
actually think you do both of those things very well.
Okay. In your opinion, I probably do everything well in your opinion.
No, you don't.
No. What do I not do well in your?
Give me a minute. I'll think of something.
But she loves me. But I really feel like singing and dancing are two acts that we can do that can really make us happier, whether we're like laughing at ourselves or laughing with ourselves, or we're just enjoying the act of these things. You know, they say like there's scientific evidence, and this is something that I used to do back in my like depressed days. I would make it a habit that every morning I would look in the mirror and smile, and I would smile for 1 minute because the act of actually
smiling. It's really
smiling.
hard to do though, a whole minute.
Yeah, but
so
I mean, I wouldn't count. Yeah. I wouldn't count. I would just be like, I'm going to like hold this smile until I actually feel it. And it didn't take but a couple seconds before you're like, it just feels good. And the act of smiling feels good. I feel like the act of singing or the act of dancing is also the same thing. Little things that you can do that can really make your overall mental health better. I truly endorse.
I honestly feel the challenge is in remembering to do those things when we're really not feeling it. Because it's like, if someone were to say to me in the midst of a bad moment, you should dance, I would be like, fuck you.
Right. But
there's no dancing.
That's why
like, you take your dance and you get your dance down somewhere else. Right?
Go and get your dance down somewhere else.
Somewhere else. I'm just not in the mood. But that's the most important moment to do it, because we have there's a choice to stay in the negativity or the fear or the anxiety, or to make a choice to do something
that gets you out of that negativity and fear and
brings
anxiety.
More perspective. Yeah. It's a very tough choice though, I have to say.
Yeah, well that's why in those years I made it a habit. It was like the first thing I did in the morning. So that even if it wasn't, you know, even if I was feeling good, it was a lot easier if I was feeling, but whatever. But it was like a daily thing. It
got you started.
It got me going. Yeah. Got me going with the day. Got me going with the day.
I love that there's so many people here on the live today.
Yes,
hi, you guys.
For those of you guys listening in on our podcast, we are also live on YouTube. And we do our podcast now on Sundays, and we do it live on YouTube as well.
Go live.
And we have so many of you beautiful, beautiful people joining. Mostly our VIPs, because you guys are just like the
Dana
best people on
Heather
the planet.
And Lindsay.
Seriously.
But Roberta.
Hey, Roberta.
Aloha, love.
We need an encore performance. Cute. Yeah.
Well, we've practiced now. So.
Well, I mean, that's the only song I know, though.
Yeah, we'll branch out, you guys. For our VIP members that are listening, we'll branch out and we'll maybe bring a new song.
Yeah, how about we work on something?
Within the year.
How about we work on something? It wouldn't take long if you taught me something else.
Well, but I would have to learn something else. It's the only thing.
It doesn't take you long to learn something.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Anyway,
but we appreciate the love, you guys.
Anyway, guys, one of the things we really wanted to talk about, other than my shirt. So let's talk about my shirt.
Let's go there first. You got a little hairball right here. Let me handle that.
Well, we have black hats, and I'm wearing a white shirt today. And it's the same type of shirt that I wore last week on our live, and then yesterday,
if you find something the
other day,
go with it.
This week that I also wore these shirts, guys. When you find a shirt that you really like and you don't have to go to the store and buy it, you can buy it. I bought this on Amazon. It was a great price, under $20. And then you really like it because it's comfortable and it feels good. You buy every color. So so this is my first day. I just took it out of the package wearing the white one. I feel like it's making me look a little fat. But anyway, today we wanted to talk about the studies.
The study that came out. Okay, so let's just cut right to the chase. There was a study that came out. Let me back it up a little bit. So initially, when coronavirus came out, there were a lot of crazy reports, right? There's a lot of news to cover. And there was a terrible, heartbreaking situation happening because there had been a dog that had tested positive for COVID-19 in China. And so people were returning or abandoning their pets at shelters in droves.
And then there was a cat in like Brazil or something.
There was a cat in China. I'm not sure if
there was another
one in Brazil.
Yeah.
So people were scared, right? And a lot of times when we're like we were just talking about. When we are scared or we fear something, it's probably not the best time to make decisions.
Correct.
And anyway, unfortunately, however, there was a study that was conducted in China at the Chinese.
Hold on, I got it right here.
Yeah, I was going to say it was
in Wuhan.
Oh, no, it wasn't in Wuhan. Sorry. It was at the first.
This is the
Let me show you. I know exactly where it's at.
So right. It's from Science Mag.
Right. So they were performed at the Biosafety Level 4 Animal Biosafety Facilities at the Harbin Veterinary Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences.
Wow.
Now,
that's a mouthful.
This study is online. You guys can read it for yourselves. But what they found was they were testing whether or not cats can actually carry COVID-19. And the thing about viruses, and I appreciated that they kind of explain it like this. With a virus, a lot of times we'll find that animals have certain illnesses that humans just can't catch. And someone explained it kind of like as a virus is a key going into a lock, like the person or the animal is the lock. The key goes into the lock and it has to be a fit in order to stick, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It won't take at all. Unfortunately, they found that cats and ferrets seem to have the receptors similar to humans that are like the lock that the key, the virus, is going into with humans, making this a very contagious situation. I'm sad to say that they euthanized all of the animals.
Yeah, what they did was they injected the virus
directly. They injected 100,000 particles of the virus
directly into the cats. How many cats were in the study?
Noses. I think there were just 7.
Directly into their noses. So they basically gave the cats the virus to see if they would actually get it. Right now,
what's undetermined though is, that's a high dosage. It's a standard apparently that's given if you're going to test on animals,
right?
Which is sad to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But they injected that directly into their noses, but what they haven't figured out, and it's a very small study. It's a very new study. Just 7 cats, I believe it was just 7. That they, I just lost my train of thought. It kills me that they're all euthanized so that they could study certain things.
Yeah, no. Well, they injected the virus directly to them, like into them, so that to see if they would get it, right? So it's not like, here's the thing. I want to make this make sense. So I want to follow what we're trying to say versus where our heads go, right? So
that's a good point. Let's try that.
Yeah, I want this to be clear.
Oh, it was
to
Belgium.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Belgium. Yes, thank you. That's where the cat was. So they did a study specifically on cats. I hate that. And they gave the cats the virus to see if they would actually then test positive for it. And they gave the cats the virus, and the cats tested positive for it. Now,
what's worth mentioning, though, in this study is that they also tested dogs, pigs, I can't remember, whatever. But basically, ferrets. But ferrets and cats have a similar mechanism, a more similar mechanism and makeup to humans, which made them more susceptible to the virus. Whereas they found that dogs didn't. What I find interesting is that the very first domesticated animal that we heard about COVID-19 being transmitted to was a dog.
Right.
So
and that's what started the craze.
That's what started the panic for a lot of pet owners.
Right. So yes, the cats were all tested positive. Is the end result. The study showed that if you give your cats COVID-19, your cats will test positive for it. Or if your cats are one of these 7 or these few that they tested, then your cats possibly can. Basically, the end result is it's possible that your cats could get COVID-19. Now, here's the thing, including the tiger in the zoo,
right?
In the Bronx Zoo that tested positive, that was actually experiencing symptoms, which is why they tested. He
and was exposed to a zookeeper that tested positive as well.
Correct. So, and then the tiger started exhibiting symptoms,
right?
Human-like symptoms, as far as the
respiratory
not
issues.
Human-like. He didn't become a human, or she, or I don't know if it was a male or female, but started getting the dry cough and things like that. They tested. The test showed that that the cat was positive for COVID-19, right? Or the correct term is actually SARS-CoV-2,
right?
Yeah.
But I also think that it's important to know as well that we're talking about this study is showing 100,000 particles being put directly into their noses. What's unknown is if, let's just say that I was a carrier, essentially asymptomatic carrier, which they're finding more and more people are asymptomatic carriers of COVID-19. If I was an asymptomatic carrier, would the acts of being near my cat, petting my cat, transmit that to my cat?
Transmit 100,000 particles of the disease into your cat's
It's not known
nose.
how many particles would actually cause the cat to be symptomatic.
Okay, but the good news is the cats that even have shown the tiger, all those cats, Belgium, even the cat in Belgium, all the cats that they injected with even though they put them down, they actually, none of them were fatal. None of the cases. Now for ferrets they were, but for the cats they were not actually fatal. So they recovered fine.
No, they didn't. They were euthanized
until they were euthanized.
Right. Or they were euthanized while they were symptomatic, so they could study other things, which I think is
really.
That's according to what I read. Yes.
But they didn't die of COVID-19 at least. No. Okay, so they didn't die. And the ones that have tested positive that have shown symptoms and whatnot. Also, that around the globe, the one in Belgium and the tiger and a couple other in the Bronx Zoo, I think they said now, are all recovered as well, recovering or recovered.
And what there's no science about yet, and I think what is causing most of the panic. And Debbie, I don't think I can even read your comment as far as what some people were doing with their cats because of false rumors. It's sickening. Basically killing their cats in
their home?
Terrible ways, just throwing them out windows or things
God.
of that nature.
But why would you do that?
The science, though, it's not conclusive. First of all,
it's not
this is very preliminary science, and I understand that it is something that we need to be aware of and we need to be considerate of. But it's very new science. What's not really known is if, let's just say, that tiger in the Bronx Zoo was around another zookeeper, if the tiger could transmit the virus to the human.
Oh, well, that's already, it has not yet been proven. They have tried that, or they have tried to test that.
Well, in the cases of the cats, so in the study that they did, this is the first study, in that study that they did where they infected those cats, they put in an adjacent cage to them an uninfected cat. And only one out of, now we're obviously talking about a very few amount of cats, 7 cats in the study. Out of those, only 1 out of 3 cases that they did that with, did the uninfected cat then test positive for COVID-19. So it doesn't seem like the contagion rate is
as high
as maybe, but these are very, very small numbers.
They are
very small numbers.
Yeah.
What I think is really important, especially addressing Debbie's comment right here, is I think it's so important. Earlier we were talking about making decisions out of fear or making decisions while we're scared. I think it's so important to be pragmatic about the situation and be reasonable. And I think
oh no, that's Roberta, not Debbie. I was like looking for Debbie and I was like, who?
Oh, Roberta. I'm sorry.
Roberta. I was like, I don't
see Debbie's right above. Okay. What I think is so important is, and we were writing about this, there's a blog I think coming tomorrow, writing about, there's a lot of information coming out every day. Some of it is scary. Some of it, is making people make very rash decisions, illogical, heartbreaking, really terrible decisions. I think that it's important for all of us, or I feel ill with any of the symptoms, to distance myself from you, to distance myself, to practice appropriate distancing from all family members. I think that that's just, having a knee-jerk reaction and being like, oh my God, my cat could carry COVID. I'm throwing them out of the house or worse, as Roberta mentioned.
Well, no, I don't understand. Okay, so first of all, I'm a very, very logical person.
Usually.
I am also a very big numbers person. So when I look at the numbers, I look at the bigger picture. I don't understand why a lot of people,
numbers.
Right? Like, let's look at the numbers and then let's not freak out. I don't understand for a second why anybody, even if they were like, the I don't want to say typical because it's not typical. The type of cat parent that doesn't necessarily consider their cat family member.
Or
right?
like a barn cat, like it's a cat.
Or whatever it is, right? Like throwing it out of a building or killing your cat or even surrendering it to a shelter because you're afraid that you would inject, like you would, that doesn't even make sense. That's not logical. What their fear is that their cat has coronavirus. Like their cat's just going to get coronavirus out of the blue and then give it to you. Right. And that is illogical and 100% unnecessary. And I want to say even stupid, right? I want to say stupid. I'm going to go ahead and put a judgment out there. And I'm going to say that's a really dumb decision.
Heather just said this. Good point. To your point, Heather said the crazy thing is that your cat comes up positive. You already have it because you're the one that gave it to the cat. Right. How does getting rid of the cat even help the problem?
It doesn't help it for you at all.
Well,
that's what I'm
especially for
saying.
Domesticated cat, right?
Yeah. So that's not an issue. It's not a thing. Now I do have to say, I'm just going to throw this out there, which I don't know if I should or not, but
do it.
If they believe, or we don't know exactly where the virus actually started, right? That's the thing. We don't know exactly where the virus already started started.
Right.
However, they believe that it started from bats, which is an animal that was transmitted to humans.
Right.
And now humans can transmit it to an animal.
Right.
So it's kind of like you would think, because we don't actually know that it started from bats, it's just thought to have started from bats.
That is the going
idea.
Science that they believe they've nailed it down to.
But it's not science if they haven't nailed it.
Well, that's true. No,
okay.
You're right.
Right.
But they believe they've tracked it down to infected. Oh no, I got it.
Our computer did that thing
and
again.
It's plugged in.
It always does it now. I don't know why. It doesn't like us.
Still going. Okay. We're good.
So anyway, what I'm saying is we don't need to freak out about our cats. Especially if we are doing our due diligence as people, as humans. If we are doing our due diligence to stay healthy and stay inside, stay quarantined as much as possible, wear masks if you have to get out, gloves, things like that. If you are doing the things, if you are healthy, then you don't need to worry about your cats, because your cat should be healthy too. And even if you have outdoor cats that run around, it's not like one of those like airborne diseases where it just floats around the world and they could just get it from climbing a tree. Well, like they have to be near infected mammal.
They've increased it. My understanding is they've increased the airborne threat from 6 feet to 10 feet now.
Okay.
So and then you have to kind of wonder, given the.
Let's talk numbers.
Well, I want to read Lindsay's comment, because this is a beautiful comment, and thank you for posting this. Honestly, if you had a kid, Lindsay said, honestly, if you had a kid and it got the virus, you wouldn't get rid of your kid. This makes me so angry that people treat pets as if they're disposable.
Yeah.
And
you know what? If you had a kid and you were sick, you also wouldn't, or your kid was sick, you also wouldn't stay away from them by 10 feet at all times. They still have to be put to bed.
You would still practice appropriate protection.
Correct.
In order to care for it.
Correct.
And what I think, though, is important to note as well, though, is that it doesn't seem to have the fatality rate. This is a very small study, so I feel like it's almost nonsensical to be talking about this science. It's a very small study, but it does not seem...
So it's important to talk about it.
The cats in the study were all euthanized, so we don't know really what the fatality rate was. You know, if they're euthanized at 3 days, and then a next batch is euthanized at 9 to 12 days,
right.
It's like, what do we even know what the life of the virus within the cat would be?
Right.
They were just testing whether or not they were receptive to the virus.
Right, exactly. But let's go ahead and talk about how
let's talk about numbers.
There are 1.8 million as of today.
Yep.
1.8 million cases of COVID-19 worldwide, right? So
crazy, you guys.
Okay. But let's talk also about how many cats are in the world, right? Top 3, I couldn't find like the number that was all together, and I didn't have time to add it all up. But the top 3 countries that have cat populations are the USA at 74 million. 74
million domesticated cats?
74 million cats. They didn't say domesticated, but probably because it was like, I
would think there's at least 74 million cat households in the
China has 53 million cats. And there's another good study that just came out from China that we'll have to talk about as well, about them not eating cats and dogs anymore.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
And Russia at 17.8 million. So those are the top 3. Then it goes down to like 15 and then whatever. Okay. But lots of freaking cats, guys. If we look at the numbers, let's just look at the numbers. If we're looking at those numbers.
You love the numbers.
How many other cats have, and we're not worried. We're not worried. Many of us are not really even worried about getting the virus. We're worried about spreading the virus, right?
Right.
Because we're like, we're strong, we're healthy, we have good immune systems.
Well, that's the part, right? There's so many people that they're finding are asymptomatic. When we were talking to Dr. Schroeder, and it's so incredible that there are so many people that are asymptomatic that carry the virus. And then there are so many people that have recovered with very mild symptoms.
Yeah.
Right. So those are interesting statistics to look at. I think that it would be helpful if the media focused more on not just the death rate, but also the recovery rate and the asymptomatic rate, so that we can have a better, more holistic understanding of this.
Correct.
But I think, what were you about to say though about the numbers?
Well, we're talking about how many cats are in. Let's just talk about the USA alone. There's
1.8 million cases of confirmed COVID-19 worldwide.
Mm-hmm. And we have a tiger literally that's caught it from a human, not been injected, but caught it from a human, a cat in Belgium, and a tiger in the Bronx. That's been reported. But how many? Oh my God. The news also is all about reporting anything, and they are about testing to figure all this out. They are testing left and right.
Testing is what's behind, and they use a different test for animals to find COVID-19 than they do for humans.
Gotcha. But when how many cats right now, let's look at what are the statistics of cats that are dying right now. If it were like a vast amount of like, oh my God, all these cats are being brought to the vet, or all these, there's all this issue with like cat illness that's happening. We get an influx. If there is an influx of a virus somewhere or something, or like during flea season, we have a lot of people contacting us about fleas and things like that. We don't have a bunch of like new respiratory issue that's happening.
Oh, that's true.
With cats, it's not.
We would hear about it.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. We would hear about it. We would know if there was a vast amount of cats that were coming down with some type of illness, whether or not they're being tested. Of
something that was
and
relatively unusual.
it doesn't seem to be happening. In the U.S. alone, there are 74 million cats. There are almost over 250,000 or over 500,000, so 549,131 as of today, or when I checked it, cases of COVID-19
in the United States.
And how many? What is it? It's like 70. I can't remember the number. I didn't write that one down.
72% of
American
households
have cats.
A cat.
Yeah, like a huge percentage, and over 500,000 people, and yet we have zero people that have yet to report that their cat, whether of all these 549,000 over 500,000 people that have the disease or have had the disease.
We're not seeing big reports of veterinarians.
I'm going to bet my life savings on the fact that
it's not a lot.
Many of those have cats in their home.
Yeah.
And how many?
Well, it just goes to prove the don't panic point.
Correct.
But here's one other thing that I want to do. And I thought we talked to a friend of ours who's a homeopathic doctor. She was here in Las Vegas. She's now in Texas. And I really felt that she brought a lot of light to the conversation by saying she studied infectious disease, and she's very well versed in disease in general and holistic health. And I thought that it was very appropriate that she brought some perspective to this. Yeah. We are dealing with a contagion rate with COVID-19 that is higher than the regular flu. This is not the flu that we're dealing with. And certainly the illness itself and how it kills us is different than the regular flu. What she did point out, though, however, was bringing perspective to it, was the very high recovery rate of so many people that showed mild symptoms, or even those that were either put into an induced coma or had been on a ventilator or had been intubated in some way. Those that had the recovery rate is actually very encouraging without underlying health issues, that sort of thing. And she also pointed out that there are a number of people that have been tested that are essentially asymptomatic. So that's scary from the perspective of that there's people that are carrying it. That's what keeps us home. I hope that if you're feeling good, I hope that's what keeps you home as well, while we all figure this all out,
yeah.
is that my greatest fear, and yours I know, would be that maybe I'm carrying the virus and I don't know it, and I could kill somebody.
Right.
You know, if I went around your folks, your dad has COPD. I mean, right.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing that Dr. Asherton was talking about that I thought was wonderful. She said, look at this from a holistic approach. Everyone is looking at this from what is the cure? The pill for every ill. What can we do to fix this? Whereas when you look more, when you study more deeply, and she studies infectious disease, when you study more deeply the how this virus is working, the commonality is a strong immune system, whether that's someone who's 97 years old or whether that's someone who's 30. If you don't have a strong immune system, you are going to be more susceptible. The immune system is a very complex thing full of so many things, right?
And that doesn't necessarily, as we find out today from you guys, beautiful people in our VIP group, weakened immune system doesn't necessarily mean you have an underlying condition. Now, some people have an underlying condition which creates a weakened immune system. Right. But we can also have, it turns out, we can also have just a weak immune system, something that's not strong. I mean, you have family members that I think have weak immune systems because they get so sick all the time.
Right.
And those would be people that I would fear at young ages could still be susceptible to it. Continue. I'm sorry.
My point is, and not my point, Dr. Schroeder's point really was, we're looking at a situation right now where we understand the contagion factor is much higher than any kind of regular virus that we're used to dealing with.
Yep.
We're now into April, and we're looking at, out of the 500,000 cases, more than 500,000 cases now that we have in the United States, we have a death rate of, I believe, around 24,000. It's climbing, but I think it's up there around 20,000.
Or it was last night. No, it was like 24 or more.
Right.
More, actually, I think.
So our fatality rate is up there. But here's the thing. So even if we're looking at very new information, hi Oliver, we're looking at very much new information. It's very new situation in general that people are learning to deal with. At the same time, Dr. Sugarman wanted to put perspective on the fact that we live in a country where we have every 37 seconds, someone dies of cardiovascular disease or a stroke. Every 37 seconds, we're talking nearly 650,000 people a year in the United States die of predominantly avoidable diseases.
Yep.
Based on building a healthy lifestyle, immune system, all
and
those
can
things.
I just bring it to cats, because our cats are the same thing.
In so many ways.
In exactly the same way that our cats are also, because especially here in America, we take care of our cats in the same way that we take care of ourselves in a lot of ways, right? So instead of feeding a fresh diet or eating a fresh diet, if you don't eat nice, healthy foods, you're less likely to feed nice, healthy foods. If you don't take any type of vitamin or mineral or supplementation or anything like that, you're less likely to give your cat a vitamin or mineral, or your kid for that matter, vitamins and things to help build their immune system. And that's where, I mean, every study, everything, nothing has changed since the beginning as far as like, if your immune system is strong, you should be okay.
This is not to minimize the fact that this is the biggest pandemic to hit the world in 100 years. This is a big deal. We're seeing an incredible fallout from this situation.
Isn't that crazy?
What's also important, though, is to understand that this is, we have to put things in perspective, and we have to do what we can to protect those around,
our family,
right?
And whatever, whether it's our feline family, whether it's our kids or our spouses, our parents, our siblings, whatever it is, we got to do what we can do to stay healthy, right? Keep our immune system strong. We take our vitamin C. We give our cats their supplements. We feed a good diet. We eat a good diet. Like these, we're not doing very well at that right now.
No, I was going to say we definitely do better with our cats. But I have a great hope that this is going to be, if we could focus a little bit more on not just the devastation of this pandemic, but look at it also holistically and study a bit the recovery rate and how and why, and understand, we still don't know once Lindsay, I think it was you that said that, somebody that tested positive, recovered and now test negative. Whereas we've also heard that people that have tested positive, recovered, are still testing positive, or is it a reinfection? Or do we always carry the antibodies? Or what is it? Like,
or is it in all of our bodies right now? And we're like, it can be activated by each other.
Well,
who knows?
Another perspective.
We are around like Dr. Schroeder said.
Yes.
We are
6 trillion viruses in the human body at any given time.
Yeah.
Now, not all of those are obviously fatal.
So E. coli.
But
like
streptococcus, like there's a number of things that can be very damaging to so many people, depending on the strength of their immune system, or they're just their makeup in general. Something that is going to be take me out or put me on my ass is not necessarily going to kick your ass. But I think that perspective is something that we need to be looking at, as far as not just reacting to this very frightening situation, but finding ways to be proactive.
Correct.
In dealing with it.
Yeah.
And
I think more people are. I really like that it seems that people are being much more proactive, whether it's washing your hands and doing whatever, or whether it's like eating healthier or taking your vitamins. Everybody, like my whole family is like all taking vitamins now, and they weren't like vitamin takers before. And they're all taking like vitamins, vitamin C, and their supplements and things like that. The stuff we send them, they're taking their stuff, right? They're taking care of themselves, because now it's like oh my God, it could be.
But how many of us are so complacent in our dailiness that it takes something this big, this scary, to really start thinking about making daily changes in our own lives or in our cats' lives? And I feel like there's great opportunity in this. And I want it to be motivated not from a place of fear, but from a place of positive proactivity.
I feel like when you actually make that decision and stick with it, and we know this because we've done it.
As we sit here and drink our wine. I have beer
no,
here.
but we've done it so many. There you go. We have done it so many times in our lives, and I will continue to do it all the time, occasionally. But when we make those good decisions about ourselves, it changes our whole perspective. And we never started. Well, maybe I started thinking like for fear.
Saying never and always are very strong words. So
correct. Yeah, you're right. Maybe when I started doing like a jog in the morning when I was like 25, I did do it out of fear of gaining weight. Right? That's how it started. Yeah, I was a fat fearer. I feared fat. And then now obviously I don't. But
I'm gonna slap you.
No, I'm fine. It's fine. But I was so fearful of gaining weight that I was like, I'm gonna start running in the morning. But then just like it might have helped the decision to get there.
Right.
But it became such a habit, and it gave me so many other beautiful benefits. Just feeling like my energy, my stress levels, my weight, my
beautiful day.
Yeah, all of these different things that it gave me, that it's like when I go like more than 2 days without running, I start to get down a little bit. So I think it's the same way, and we've done this with our diet too. Oh my God,
Lord,
remember how many times we would have?
Yeah.
It was like, we are better humans right now. Like, we're just finding that everything that we do is so much like better. Like, we're doing it more fully. We're doing better by our other humans in our lives. Like, we're just doing better by being healthier.
Yeah, always.
Everything else. And so it's the same thing with our cats. Like, let's do this.
Bring it back around.
If it means it, and guys, don't be scared. Don't be scared, but be thoughtful. Be informed, right? Be informed that it is possible. It's not possible that your cat is going to catch COVID-19 and your indoor cat is going to catch COVID-19 from a car driving by outside of your house. That is not possible. No. What is possible is that if you are a carrier and your cats are not healthy, you can possibly give your cats COVID-19.
Even if they are healthy,
if your cat is healthy,
possible.
If your cat is as healthy as you should be, then your cat's not going to, you'll never know. Your cat will never know. Nobody's going to know that anybody in the household has COVID-19. We just want to stay in and not infect others.
Yeah. I know that I feel like we kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, we always do.
But I think the bottom line is that it's so important Roberta said it's interesting that most, if not all, of these deadly viruses come from animals. Swine flu, bird flu. The animals are telling us to stop eating them and treating them so cruelly.
So let's talk about that. So a study in China just came out, or a announcement from China just came out and said
Debbie,
that they were no longer going to be allowed in China to consume, meaning eat, ingest, animal meat of dogs,
cats,
and cats.
Not bats.
I didn't actually see the study. I saw the overview of the study.
I'm curious to see the study.
But it was like 10 million. Here's the crazy thing. 10 million dogs, 3 million cats per year are consumed. Animal meat from 10 million dogs and 3 million cats.
What?
Like, who the fuck is eating that? Like, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. I don't have like that.
Well, no. See the actual... Here's the point. Don't take it from us. Don't take any of this from us. I think this is a great opportunity. A lot of us are homebound right now. This is a great opportunity. This study that we're referring to right now is probably a 7-8 minute read. Go and read it yourself. Go and look at some of this stuff yourself. I think that there is a great threat to our collective calmness if we only read headlines.
Correct.
You guys, we've got to start doing some of the research for ourselves, and don't listen to us. And
we've got time to do the research, peoples.
Hopefully, I just think that there is much. We can exercise a more pragmatic view and more reasonable responses to these things when we take time to look into it a little bit ourselves.
Right. Stop
listening to sound bites. Stop just reading headlines. Don't be afraid all the time. Take some time to really dig in and understand what's going on.
And start.
To the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
This is all a new situation for everybody. And there are people that are going to want to exploit that opportunity to be like, this is some crazy, scary shit. And there's other people that are going to be like, fake news. Somewhere in the middle is our opportunity to think for ourselves.
Yes.
Really, truly.
Yep.
So this is a great what a great collective reminder for us to kind of look into it. And above all, practice some peace, you guys.
Yes.
Think of ourselves and our babies.
Yes, there's so much science behind the peace of the mind creating the peace of the body. So we need to understand, and by peace I mean PEACE. The peace of your mind creates peace of your body. So these headlines, watching the news, doing these things is flipping us out. And if it flips you out or freaks you out, then it is going to be more, you're now going to be more susceptible.
There's a physical response.
It's a physical response. You're now going to be more susceptible to whatever disease is out there, any disease that's out there. And your cortisol levels that you give out to your cats makes them more susceptible now to said disease, right? Or any disease. So what we need to do is stay peaceful, stay calm, stay counting positive. Your blessings, do everything you can. Shut off the news, do some exercises, find a new hobby, do whatever it is. Dance and sing. Do it in the mirror. Do whatever it is that keeps you happy, that keeps you positive, that keeps you smiling, so that you can be now less susceptible to any disease, including COVID-19, and your cats will too.
I think we need to wrap it up, and I just want to say that I feel like this whole situation, as scary as it can be, and we ride the roller coaster too, you guys, of just like, what does this mean? How long are we going to be okay for? Right? We're trying to help those around us, check in on friends and family and neighbors, and do what we can to help people that are unemployed right now, and all that. And let's please continue doing that. I feel like there's so many beautiful things happening in the world as far as compassion and connectivity and all of that. I also feel like somewhere in this, nobody knows how long this is going to last.
No.
I mean, whatever, there's models and projections and whatever. Some people are going to open up on Wednesday and other people say it's not going to be for a year. In the meantime, I think that there is a great opportunity for us to really kind of hunker down within our own minds and souls and spirits and families and whatever. And there's a chance to really emerge from this, whenever that may be, stronger, healthier, happier, more connected, more positive, more powerful than ever before. Yeah. So I think that there's great opportunity in this, you guys. And I think that there's, the whole we're in this together thing.
Yeah.
We absolutely are. But all of us need to recognize that my dailiness impacts your dailiness, impacts what happens here, what happens there, what happens here. There's a ripple effect. So if we think that we don't matter in this, or we think that we're just having a bad day and I don't care about it, like, think again. We have choices to make every day that can make a difference.
Exactly. We are all one vessel of the entire body, and every vessel is very important.
Oh, there's a song about that. We'll save you guys that.
That's a Garth Brooks song. How does it go?
I don't think we should do it. You guys. No. We love you so much. I love you guys all. Nope. You're done.
No?
You're
Okay.
Cut it off. Different song.
No, you guys. It. I sail my vessel.
It's different though. You're thinking of one body, one.
Okay. Anyway. All right. So we love you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy Easter to those of you guys that are just listening. We're recording this on Easter Sunday. It's a strange Easter Sunday, but we hope that you've had a blessed Easter Sunday and you're enjoying a blessed day today.
Yes, absolutely. And if you don't feel like you are blessed today, count your blessings, because we're all blessed in some way, shape, or form. Just for the fact that we're breathing, we are blessed.
That's very helpful.
Yeah. And then you can always sing and dance. That helps too.
Sing and
dance. We love
you
guys so much. Mwah.
We'll see you guys soon. We'll see y'all next week. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.